Innovation, security, programming, technology, development.
Let's begin.
DevSecOps, your cybersecurity and technology podcast.
Hi everyone, it's a pleasure to be back since we are, maybe 2-3 weeks without a DevSecOps podcast episode, but we are back and it's a pleasure to have a very nice guest today. I will be introducing him in one moment. First, we need to say that the DevSecOps podcast has the support from Nova 8 and Checkmarks. If you are interested in securing your code, you can talk to Nova 8 or Checkmarks. All the links and information you can find on the YouTube description. Also on the DevSecOpsPodcast.com.br. If you're looking for AppSec solutions, you can talk also with the guys from Digital Woke. They have a full portfolio for you. And Goat Security, they are specialized in application security services. So whatever you want to do, if you're buying solutions and you have like people to do some things or proper job, you can talk to Goat Security as well. Okay, today we will be talking about vulnerability and how to say properly this, I would say AI generation, which is one of the biggest challenge, I would say, in AppSec, to help developers to fix their problems. Or I'll not say only developers, and our guest will bring more light to this topic for us, but I would say to help companies to fix their problems. Because developers, sometimes they want to do the job, sometimes they don't want to do the job, but whatever we can bring to make their life easier, I would say, it's very welcome. And for this, we have today with us Eitan. Eitan is from Mobb.ai, a very nice solution that I had the opportunity to meet at Black Hat last year in Vegas. And no more, Eitan, please, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us. And feel free to introduce yourself, and then we start the conversation from there.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, Cássio. Eitan Vuln here. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Mobb. We met, I think, just before the competition where Mobb actually won the Startup Spotlight Award. Very exciting moment for us. I'm going again next year. So this year, not competing, but if someone is getting to Black Hat, drop me a note. I'm going to be talking about the competition, about how it helped us. I love this topic. Naturally, I have background in application security. I've been in application security since 2007. I like to say always a vendor, never a practitioner. So I know it from the side of finding stuff, from the side of giving customers a lot of work to do because tools find problems. They don't solve problems. So I'm very excited about what we are doing today about automatic remediation.
Cool, Eitan. Again, one more time, very welcome and very nice to have you here. And by the way, are you going to be also in Black Hat Europe? Because I might go to Black Hat Europe this year. I'm pretty sure that we're going to Vegas. Yeah?
That's like November, December, I think, right?
Yeah, December.
We'll talk before.
Okay, cool. So let's jump directly to the topic. Eitan, where it started the idea of creating a solution using AI that fix vulnerabilities to the developers. I mean, as you said, you had the background on AppSec and so on. And me as previously software developer, but it was 10 years ago. I would really love to have some kind of these things in my hands just to save, 80% of my time. But how do you come up with this idea? As you said, you are a co-founder. How it started? Eh?
So to be honest, years ago when I was still working as a product manager in one of the AppSec vendors, I remember a user group, companies came and say, hey, you can find vulnerabilities automatically. Why can't you also fix them automatically? That was maybe 10 years ago. And I thought, well, if I had magic fairy dust and sprinkle around it, it would work. Naturally, I didn't think it can be done. Luckily, I partnered with Jonathan Afek. He's the CTO and co-founder of Mobb, and the guy is awesome. And he was able to build a POC at the beginning of 2022 that can fix things automatically. It's something very basic. And we took it and shared it with a few big companies, big AppSec customers, and they got really excited. And we realized, okay, we don't need to fix everything. Whatever we can fix will help. Mind you, it's before November 2022 where ChatGPT came to life and everyone heard about it. So zero AI at that point, just good old security research and good old developers that can write code transformation, let's say, algorithms and engine.
Cool, that's cool. And I remember when I saw you guys at Black Hat last year, because I worked with checkmarks for last, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, and we have a base of customers in Brazil. And I remember them. One of the pain points, like the solution is awesome. We get a lot of problems, but we're struggling to fix them. And we have professional service that we offer to support our customers as well. But when you see dashboards with 100, 500, 1,000 vulnerabilities, and I mean, we already did some kind of false positives cleaning, which means they have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of backlog, or a big backlog to handle. Yeah? And then when I saw you guys on the stand there, and I said, oh, okay, this is the next level or next step to bring our customers not only one solution, but one way of getting fast to the security level that we all want, let's say, as security guys, right? In the end of the day, we want to find vulnerabilities, of course. We want to fix them as well. But we want also to stop creating those vulnerabilities, which comes to my next question, right? Do you think that this kind of tool, maybe not mob exactly, or maybe you have these features, I don't know, but do you think that this kind of solutions, they will actually bring the value to the customer? Like, I'm fixing your problems for you. In case of mob, I know that you can even customize the fix, right? You select the type of data, the parameter name, and so on and so forth, which is awesome. Not only the only button that to push, then you don't like that code, then you need to reverse and so on. But do you think that this also help on the educational side? Like, developers are fixing, doing the code review, let's say, but they are also learning, because in the end of the day, we don't want to go to the doctor every day, right? We want to eat healthy, go to the gym, and be healthy, yeah, until we die, and that's fine. Do you think this also helped them to learn how to code, let's say, safely?
It's a really interesting question. It comes up a lot. I think it's very dependent on the developers. You mentioned checkmarks. Checkmarks were one of the two vendors that I reached out initially as we started, and I told them, this is what we are building. I want to work with you, right? I was never interested in finding the problems. I want to help developers and organizations solve the problems. I had a discussion with one CISO early on, and he said, Eitan, I love this solution. My developers can actually learn how to fix issues now because you're showing them how to fix. And I told him, Ante, I don't think that they will, because they see SQL injection vulnerability maybe once a quarter. There is no muscle memory here. I heard from others that they said, well, our developers actually see that every other week, so maybe they will learn. I know also customers that we have and prospect that we spoke with that said, I'm not sure I like it because you're allowing our developers to stay ignorant to security. You're making it easier for them to not care about security. I think we are making it easy for those that want to learn. They will see the code. They will see, oh, this is how I was supposed to do that. I'll try to remember next time. Next time they forgot, again and again, at the end, it will stick. But for those developers that don't care about security, I don't think that Mob will make them care more, but nothing will. So the way that we look at it, we are serving two things. First of all, we are helping organizations be more secure, which is very important. But more interestingly, we are helping them be more productive. If a developer spends 2, 3, 5, 9 hours to fix an issue, and now with a click of a button, they can see the fix that Mob did and just merge it, save them, they can go and do something that they were actually paid and hired to do, which sadly was never. I don't know about you, Cássio, but I never heard about the developer that was actually in the interview asked security questions. For dev, if they are hired for AppSec or security engineers, yet, but not for dev. So why do we expect them to learn? I learned computer science. I'm old. Back in 1999, I learned about input validation, but not in the context of security. In the context of, if you're expecting to get this parameter, this is what you're looking for. So it's a shame, but as long as developers don't learn from day one, as long as cyber is not a mandatory course, I think we can only try to help. But again, it's always a matter of layers. Training is important. Scanning is important. Fixing is very important. Otherwise, you just scan and you're just stuck, right?
Awesome. I like this. I like this answer, and I brought this educational topic because I really like to see. I like to imagine the perfect world where we don't have vulnerabilities, right? And to happen, everybody must know about security and don't create them, not create vulnerabilities. But as you said, kind of impossible to do. Some developers they will not care, and it's fine. And there will be the days that always you need to go to the doctor. You always need to go to a SaaS solution, and you always need some mob to, okay, give me the fix because I have no idea what is the vulnerabilities. And you mentioned like, okay, a SQL injection, maybe it's too popular, more or less everybody know between codes here. But when it comes, I don't know, to heap inspection, like what the hell is heap inspection, right? And the solution can provide the fix. You click a button, you are protected, because that's the goal in the end of the day, right? To be protected, to be safe and to be secure. Okay, I agree with this answer. I agree.
But it is interesting. 2 years and a bit, I got on LinkedIn. I posted, "Hey, I'm giving $100 gift card for Amazon for anyone that gets on a call with me for 1 hour. I want to see how they fix an issue." I went with the SQL injection because I knew that everyone knows what SQL injection is. They didn't know how to fix it. They didn't know how to. Well, outside of the AppSec person that, of course, fixed it really fast, senior developers, junior developers, college kids, they didn't know how to fix it. It was painful to watch to some degree. So you and I, we've been around the block for a while. We know what SQL injection is. We know how to fix it. It's not that hard to fix it.
Yeah.
But the developer doesn't know often. They need to go and research. They may stumble on the wrong explanation. They may break their code. And combine that with the fact that most developers have zero respect for security tools and they don't trust that what security says is true. It's a mindset. It's very challenging. One of the interesting things that we saw when we started, I'm working with very large organizations, not just small organizations. And some of them asked me, I always ask, what are the top 3 to 5 issues that you want to see Mob fix? Because we don't fix everything. We are growing all the time. And we had one very large software company, one of the biggest ones. And they said, I think it was overly broad exception. And I asked why, because it's low. And they said, well, we had 265,000 instances of it in the first 5 months of the year, and we will never be able to meet SLAs. So we need to fix them also. I really appreciate the fact that they take that seriously and they want to fix everything. But naturally, it's not a problem that people can fix on their own. They need help. They need automation.
Cool. And you just mentioned this word, which is for the people who are just coming to the DevSecOps podcast. We are in the 5th season already, more than 150 episodes. And the word that comes to our podcast, every episode, we talk about this word, even non-tech episodes, it's culture and automation. And bringing this specific point of automation, because I'm really fan of automating kind of everything, maybe because I'm lazy, I will spend 8 hours to do 1 hour to automate something that would take 1 hour to do, right? But do you think that automation in terms of AppSec, it's the way, like we should automate everything, we should try to fix everything this automation way? Or do you still see some manual job being executed, or still, people there? How you see this challenge there?
The things that you can automate, you should automate, right? It's not just laziness, it's also more accurate. Once you got it right the first time, let's replicate that. But you can't automate everything, right? I was a developer in AppScan Standard, a really good DAST solution at that time. I hope it still is. I'm not touching it. And there were discussions, does it mean that we don't need pen testers? Yes, you do. You can automate them, but there are things that you need the special skills that the machines cannot do on their own. Same goes for automatic scanning. Same goes for automatic fixing. You cannot and you don't want a tool to automatically do architectural changes or business logic changes, because the machine will not know. It will not have all the context. You need to find what it's good at, verify that you like the fix. Both the security team needs to say, hey, I like this fix that Mob did. If my developers use this fix, we're good. And then the dev team will say, I like this fix. It goes along with my code. Now I can use that from now and eternity. Every time there is a new issue, Mob will give you the same fix. Some solutions, by the way, that rely too much on AI, every time they get a fix, it might be a little bit different, and that's scary. So how can you automate it? But I think that if you have something repetitive, like with checkmark scans, right? Who runs it manually these days? Everyone put it in the pipeline. They want to find things fast. So that's what they are getting with the automation. Repetitive, cool. Deterministic results are important.
Cool.
DevSecOps.
Now I want to bring one more topic that I'm really fan, and you as a CEO of a company that are looking to fix problems, and I would say prevent problems as well. I'm
Mm-hmm.
really fan of killing the, I mean, in Portuguese I know better this sentence, but in English it would be something like killing the problems on their roots, right? So
Mm-hmm.
in my conception as developer, the vulnerability borns whenever I'm keyboarding, whenever I'm typing on my IDE, right, on the Visual Studio, Eclipse, whatever. So there's the vulnerability being born right that time. And do you think that tools like linters and these kind of things that are popping up on the developer's face while they are typing, do you think this is beneficial somehow? Like imagine Mobb.ai executing the I don't know, fix or linting, whatever, why they are typing, or I don't know, saving a file or whatever. Because to me, whenever it's outside of the IDE, it's already too late. I mean, not too late, but then it's pipeline, then it's pull request, then it's too many ways, too many steps ahead that might escape our eyes as security, right? But if I don't go further with that code, since I saved that file, okay, this vulnerability will not grow, let's say. So do you see this as a benefit or some solution, maybe a new feature for Mob? I don't know.
So when we started early on, Jonathan and I, our idea was to do a security spell check in the IDE. When you talk with large organizations, every security tool, every security team wants to say, "Hey, I'll give my developers an IDE plugin of checkmark, snake, Veracode, you name it, right?" And I'm talking to them, and they're asking, "Are you integrating into the IDE?" And then I ask them, "Are your developers using the IDE plugin?" No. Why not? We don't know. They don't want to use it. They are using linters for you know
Code style or whatever. Yeah?
yeah, exactly, but not for that. So we were trying to figure out what is the best location that you're not relying on the developers to install the plugin, you're not relying on the developers to use the plugin, a place where they are used to having a lot of their tests. And that the most common one is on GitHub. As you do pull requests, you have all your linting tasks, you have unit testing, you have all those. Let's add the scan, and many organizations already do that. So if they
Mm-hmm.
run their checkmark scan there or snake scan there or whatever, we can be the next step of, and we will fix it. So the point that you're mentioning, and people have that, I'm about to submit a PR, I want to finish my feature, and now checkmarks finds vulnerability, and it's a good vulnerability. It's an
Mhm.
accurate one.
Yeah.
Now I need to spend 5 hours, 8 hours, 2 hours, whatever on fixing. Instead of that, and that takes me out of context and cause delays. Instead of that, checkmarks will show the vulnerability, Mob will fix the vulnerability. And that's it. The developer stays there, they look at the code and they said, yeah, I like it. Click commit, done. The same test will run again because this is how usually customers run it. And then it's the I think it's you're still in the context of your dev tools. And I really like, by the way, we're talking about checkmarks all the time. It
Mhm.
seems like commercials. I really like how checkmarks did it today with checkmarks one. With they have the webhook, so everything is very easy for their security team to set things up. But again, we are doing it with Snake and Fortify and GitHub Advanced Security. We are doing it with many others. So I, it's a balance. Would it be best to do it in the IDE? Yes. Is it usable in the IDE? No one uses it.
No, yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm looking actually in the industry, some psychologists, very good one, to talk on this way, like why developers don't do some things, like they like using IDEs, plugins for this kind of things, and why they do other stupid things, like spending hours looking for the new framework for something to use the latest tech or whatever. But okay, I like this. I like this approach as well. That we are still on the context of developing time, not
yeah,
deploying, let's say, or somewhere or something
I
like
think that one of the key elements that we wanted to do with Mob is not to judge our customers. We come to a customer, however they run their application security program, that's probably the best for them. Maybe for their stage, maybe for their technology stack, maybe licensing, I
that.
don't know. So if they run a scan manually, that's okay. It's probably their decision. I'm not there to judge them. If they go all the way to every pull request and in the between scheduled on a build pipeline, Mob will be one step there next to them, next to the scanner to fix the issues. It's not my responsibility to tell them, no, you need to do it differently. Let's do this and then
Mhm.
you add Mob. No, we will adjust.
Okay,
That's the
okay,
point.
and I would say this is a very good approach because usually solutions or tools that try to make customers change their process in order to fit their solution, it will not work, right? So it's you better fit their process or their strategy in order to be flexible, right? As you said, we can put mob whatever we want, and we'll be flexible. Usually next to the SaaS, right? It will make more sense.
We had a company offsite this week in Lisbon, and went to OWASP event after, and we had a lot of discussions on how can we help our developers and what is our goal. Why did we start Mob? And at the end, we started Mob so developers can develop like little kids again. They don't need to worry about what the SaaS tool told them. I hire developers. My developers are all senior and they are good and they know vulnerabilities. But the idea is I want them to develop what they're being hired to do, and not to spend now a sprint on fixing security issues. If I can do that as Mob, developers can develop, can enjoy developing again, companies can move faster. I'll be there to help them secure it. I'm not fixing everything, but I'm helping them fix a lot. That's what we want to do.
Okay, that's cool. Do you think also Mob can help with false positives stuff? Because we know as SaaS, as any kind of this, it's impossible to don't have, and it's okay. Just sometimes companies doesn't know that, right? They ask, okay,
Yeah.
how many false positives you have in the solution? Like, I don't know, 30%, 40%, 10%, 1%, doesn't matter, but they will always be there, right? And your backlog can be bigger because of this, and you need someone to check and to remove that. But how Mob fits on this?
So I like to say that 1 out of 4 issues, more or less, the SaaS report is true positive. You can basically ignore the other 3. Of course, it's just a number that I learned over the years, but some will say 105, or one will say 1 of 10. I heard a customer that says 99% of my tool findings are crap. The thing is, what is a false positive, right? If it's a code that is good and there's no problem with the code, Mob will not be able to fix it. And then we are working on a capability to say, this is most likely a false positive, right? We couldn't find the problem itself. It's a risky thing to do for us, but we
Yes.
get to a level of understanding that we can. At the same time, if the code is bad, but not exploitable, I will fix it before the customer. I mean, Mob will fix it faster than the customer can figure it out even. Making the code that, going back to the SQL injection, right? If someone did string concatenation and execute query, it's bad, whether the code was sanitized or not. If you did it prepared statement, code is more readable, code is the performance improves, and it's more secured. And developers, when something is non-vulnerable today, it may be vulnerable tomorrow because someone calls it from another location. Developers love to develop through copy paste, so they take code that was not flagged, put it in another place, and now it is vulnerable. And the last, we were talking about AI, right? One of the cool things is about Copilot. Copilot replicates the patterns that you write with a great idea, because you want the code to look familiar all the time. If you have a lot of vulnerabilities in the code, Copilot will generate more vulnerabilities. So fixing the broken issues are important. As for false positives, we are trying to work on a feature, as I mentioned, that will tell developers, hey, this is most likely a false positive, maybe even to the level that we will integrate with the tool and market as false positive. Who knows? It's future-wise. Maybe I shouldn't share all the roadmap, but whatever. But definitely we are working on that. It's a challenge, right?
Yeah,
It's a big responsibility to say this report was a false positive.
and I mentioned this topic because I wanted to bring an example. Maybe 3 years ago, when I was more deep in checkmarks with some customers, I had one customer that we were doing code reviews for them, and one developer came. There was a call, and I remember the team like, "Oh, we got a report. Maybe I don't know, 10 vulnerabilities. Let's put a number, 10 vulnerabilities, and 9 of them are false positives. 1 of them are true positive. We already fixed." And I said, "Okay, so show me these 9 false positives." It was a cross-site scripting, something very simple, right? We have a cross-site scripting here, but since the application is running only internally, not externally, it's false positive. And I was like, it's not a false positive. You go to the doctor and the doctor say, look, you have a tumor. It's not maybe in English malignant, right? It will not kill you, but it's benignous, right? So it will not kill you, but you have a tumor, right? This vulnerability is the same example. It is a cross-site scripting, which means that if someone exploits the application, it will succeed. Maybe you are not exposed to the internet, so your attack surface, let's say, it's reduced, but you still have a problem. Then the developers like, we didn't think this way because we know we have the firewall, the network, and some Amazon something something something. So if the hacker did this, then this cross-site script is the least of our problems. And I was,
Correct.
yes, I agree with you, but doesn't mean it is a problem. And we know researches from, I just missed the name of those guys from this website, but there are some research from them that they have every hacking, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 steps. Like it's not one vulnerability, it's not one thing. They go here, they go there, they get an access, they get the password, then escalate privilege to get to the database, let's say. So what I was mentioning all this context to these developers, like okay guys, I agree with you, this problem might not be critical, but it is a problem. When you say the false positives, like if I try to do a cross-site scripting here, it will not work. But it's not the correct thing, it will work. So this concept or mindset that a lot of developers just show, okay, this is a false post, this doesn't happen because of this or that, they sometimes they are relying on third parties like a firewalls, WAF, whatever, but they don't really accept that the vulnerability is there. And I really, and that's what the point now, I really believe that Mob will kind of help with this, because you are not ignoring, just got the SaaS results and you check everything, what you can fix, what you cannot fix. But you will show like, okay guys, you have 10 vulnerabilities, this cross-site script here, I can fix for you, it's already fixed. For them, doesn't even matter if it's internal, external, whatever. In this case, you would have a vulnerability fixed in the end of the day, right? Because that's what we're talking about. And next question.
I think that people confuse between false positive and risk and exploitability and reachability.
Yes.
It's a false positive if the code is good. It doesn't mean that it's exploitable, but if the code is not good, it should be flagged by SaaS tool. It's on the business owner, right, to decide if they are fixing it or not, based on risk, based on how long it takes, based on all those. That is true. But calling it false positive is something that I have issues with.
Yeah, I still have this problem as well. And by the way, with checkmarks, I think you don't even have the false positive option. You have the not exploitable option, which is exactly the concept, right? To try to educate somehow that, okay guys, this is a problem, but maybe in your context you don't have a business impact, so you can live with it, right? You don't have a risk, so it's okay for you. And I want to bring
by the way, all tools have false positives also.
Yeah, exactly.
Just say that. Have the cases where the rule looks at the code and say, hey, here's the problem, and there is no problem. But that's the minority of the issue. That's not most of the
exactly. Latest days, I had some POC or demos with GitHub Advanced Security, and there was some things there as well. Previously with Sneak, and I mean, everyone has this. And one next topic, it's do you think that this kind of how to say AI world, you're benefiting from AI because you are building a solution using your models, training your model, language models, and so on and so forth, right? Do you also believe that AI will bring also some challenges on the attacking ways? Like today, as you said, right? Today, someone will just go up Burp Suite and try to exploit my application, some proxying, doing the good and old pen testing, and so this is one thing. But how do you think AI will also benefit the bad guys to attack the applications and this thing, right?
Yeah. So it should be much easier now to exploit, right? You can write tool to try to exploit it. It's even easier. Let's put 0 days aside. There is a new vulnerability disclosed. Often enough, researchers share how they exploit it, how they prove it. Then you can automate it easier on, casting a wide net and find more applications that can do it. And with the AI, you can change signatures of things easily to, not easily, but to try to bypass some of the WAFs, some of the firewalls. That's how I see it. I do want to mention one thing about Mob and its use of AI. We are using AI, right? I'm not hiding it. It's in the domain name also. We call it hybrid AI. The way that we provide our fixes, we have 2 levels of fixes. The regular ones where we have algorithms to fix every issue. In a step or 2 of the algorithm, we may or may not use AI in order to run faster. Outside of those, we have what we call experimental fixes, and that's where it's prompt engineering AI, Sometimes it's great, many times it's embarrassing. We allow people to enable that. By default, we are disabling now because we got so much better in our hybrid AI deterministic fixes. I think that there is a lot of value in doing even AI fixes, even if they're wrong, even if they're right 30-40% of the time, because developers see it. It saves developers the chase to go to ChatGPT. I don't think it's usable if you have 100 developers, but it's usable if you have 100 vulnerabilities. It's usable for one vulnerability or two vulnerabilities. That's why we took a different approach. So, all I'm saying is at AI, I'm a believer in AI. I know some of the limits and those limits being reduced all the time, but you need to understand what you can offer. You need to flag it correctly. On the attacker side, they don't need to flag it. They just run it. If it works, great. If not, you just wasted some, $1 to $5. It's not that expensive for them. It just makes the need to fix things and to reduce the mean time to remediate much because of that. Because exploits will come faster.
Cool. I like this point as well. One other thing that I want to bring, and maybe you as a CEO will understand this point, apart from the technical part, right? I previously worked in a company called ABB, and we were doing mainly industrial control systems, like just critical things, right? Controlling power plants or running water, just things that cannot go wrong, right?
Yeah.
And by definition, this kind of business, they know they are critical, and they have their policies, whatever. Okay, we do not accept, I don't know, vulnerabilities. We fix the code, blah blah blah. This is one thing. And I also worked in some marketing agencies. We are deploying 2-3 websites to production every day without caring of anything. You click the button, it's working. Thank you, perfect. And I have my own opinion about this. Like, the business itself should dictate the criticality of how your AppSec should work, because it's not about, okay, if my company has a problem, I will lose money, my employees lose money, whatever, the shares, etc. This is one thing, but what impact I have on the society, right? If I have a bank and my bank is offline, so it's people's money is offline, they are not able to pay or to get their money, whatever. How do you see this? Do you imagine this as well? Like, companies should care about security by the criticality of their business? This is one point, and maybe other points, like they also have the freedom, right? I want to do security or I don't want to do security. Maybe banks, they have more regulations and these things, but apart from that, I see like everybody's doing the way they believe, the way they want, the way they agree, without this thinking on the society. Like, okay, it's Mobb.ai is offline. What happens? Okay, your customers stop fixing vulnerabilities, which means that there are more vulnerabilities in production, which means that more softwares in productions around, right? But my e-commerce, which is selling, I don't know, mouses, keyboards, is offline. I'm just losing money. Society is not impacted by that. Someone is without keyboard. It's okay, right? So how do you see this?
So a few things. First of all, I do believe that those that are in charge of create software for power plants, they should do everything in their power to secure it, because our life depends on it. I agree. If Amazon goes down on Black Friday, that's a problem, right? It's not life-threatening problem, but it is a major problem that can cost them hundreds of millions of dollars. At the same time, I will say something that people in security don't say much. DevSecOps security vulnerability is not why companies collapse. All the big ones got breached more than once, some of them. If you think about the big ones that are not big ones now, it's not because they were breached, because they failed to compete. It's because they failed to innovate. So for us, we can say, hey, no, you need to fix everything. If you fix everything manually, you cannot compete. You will run out of business. There is a balance, right? I do want companies that I'm a customer of, I do want them to understand the risk, and I do want them to care about my details, because living in the US, you get a letter in the mail every so often saying your information was part of a breach. Here, you can join a class action suit. I don't care about that. I just don't want my information to be breached all the time. It's really annoying. So for us, like, for example, for Mobb, I'm not one of those that says the reputation is the most important thing, but for us it is, because I will come to you as a big bank or as a small software company, whatever, and I will ask you, give me your code, give me report that says where the problems are in the code, and trust me, I will take care of you. It's a big ask. So we are taking security extremely seriously. Not every startup should. Other startups, they're not a target yet. So if they don't innovate or move fast, no one will target them in the first place because they will run out of business. So there is that balance. You'll never have enough resources to do everything. So choose how you do it.
Cool, cool. I read a tweet from a girl that I always forget her name, but she's from InfoSec industry in US as well, a blonde one. I just missed her name. But she was tweeting something like, in the past, men are going out to hunt, right? Otherwise, you will not eat. So the risk taking on the humanity itself, it was always there. You take risks. You don't have the armors or the best guns and so on. You need to hunt, otherwise you starve, right? All the family and all the tribe, I don't know, everybody. Today we have everything in plastic bags on the supermarket. It's much easier. You don't need to hunt. But I think, and this parallel is a very good point. And you bring like very good regarding this balance, right? There are, I take some risks in order to my business to succeed, or as you said, you are as a mob, you need to take security seriously. Otherwise, if you had a breach on people's code, then you will not succeed at all, right? So that there is a balance on the business itself that will dictate what to do and how it depends, but on what to do. I like this point. And maybe one last thing. So we are almost on time already. How do you see education in general? We mentioned about this as well, but how is your opinion? Do you think that developers in their university courses, wherever, they should have in their agenda, in their course agenda, that AppSec, cybersecurity, whatever there, or do you believe that as is today? When I was developer, that's why I moved to security. I liked security. I was studying, then I just moved to security because it's much more easier to point to the code than create the code, right? But how do you see this? You believe that should be an education part? Like they should be pushed to security as well, or no? How is it?
I think there should be. I think it would be the best. I think also at the same time that AppSec practitioners and vendors need to understand that we are not even close to that. And then you can't say, no, developers need to know how to fix the code, and I want them to fix the code, so don't go and do that for them. They will stay ignorant. Developers also, if taught correctly, they will be interested in that. Writing secure code is very, very interesting. Think about it. It's about quality. It's about understanding the limitations of your application, the limitation of your code, what can go wrong with it. People are often enjoying it. On the complete other side, React allows you to not care too much about cross-site scripting, right? Go and Rust allows you to write almost like C, but without the memory problems, that without buffer overflow risks. So maybe we'll get to a point where we can write frameworks that don't allow you to do silly mistakes, and then who cares, right? If at the end the goal is to run faster. If you can run faster because someone else is preventing you from doing the mistakes in the first place, like you said originally, oh, it will be better. I won't have a job maybe, but I won't get those letters in the email all the time. So,
And that's I would say that the best word, right? We don't have this kind
yeah.
of problems. Okay, and you bring one point that I would like to ask as well. Maybe it's deep technically, but doing the fixing on the code, do you see also some challenge depends on the language? As you said, with Go we don't have some memory problems, with Rust this and that, but Java and C Sharp, then we handle a lot of things. You have this kind of problems on generating the code.
Yeah, the problem that we have is similar to the problem the static analysis solutions have. You write an engine that can run the rules. Then you run rules to find problems. For each language, you have different rules. You have different findings. For us, it's similar. For every language, we will need to fix things differently. As I said, it's not AI to the level that, hey, AI, fix this problem. It's more of, this is how you're supposed to fix this problem in this pattern, in this language. We want to make sure that we are doing the due diligence to not break the code and to provide the best fix in every situation. Sometimes it involves even research because the advisors that the tools give are not always the best. We found something where you see the advisory, and if you follow the advisory to the point, you're still vulnerable. Um, so it's a risk, right? If I'm saying use the mob fix and you're protected, I'm taking a huge risk and huge responsibility on myself And that's why we continuously working with the top security companies to get their feedback also, and with the teams. That's why I said originally, security team needs to look at the fix, say, yes, this fix works for us. And just a month and a half ago, we got someone saying, I don't like this fix. It's not good enough. It needs to do this also. And we realized, and we changed it. We updated it. It's not that it didn't solve the problem. It could have introduced some minor issue in some cases. For them was so fixing a high that introduced a minor, but they cared about it and we improved.
But still a good change, right? As we said.
Basically, that situation there was that we printed the exception, and when you print the exception, you may lead to info leak. So we changed that also.
Okay, cool. Eitan, cool. We are on the time. Again, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining and sharing. I think it was a lot of new and nice things for the audience. Hopefully, people will. You don't need to worry about code anymore, guys. Just use Mob. It will fix everything for you and you'll be safe. No, I'm kidding. He just said no. It's a big responsibility. But Eitan, thank you again. Feel free to send any message, whatever links, etc. I will put on the video description, guys, so you can visit Mobb.ai. Also, maybe Eitan, LinkedIn, whatever he wants to share. Again, say some last advice for the people. What would you say for the developers, for example?
I mean, there is no magic solutions, right? You need to do those things. Even if you have a tool that fixes things automatically like Mob does, you should understand what the fix does. And you should be very skeptical when vendors offer you a tool that fixes everything or eliminate all the problems. There is no such thing. Check. Mob is easy to check, by the way. Check it on your own. And if you like it, great. If you don't like it, let me know. And then we'll make it better.
I would say that this is even better. If you like it, keep using. That's fine. If you don't like it, tell them. They are willing to fix. I'm pretty sure to improve the solution and the tools. That's all about. Right? Okay, Eitan, one more time. Thank you, guys. See you next week on the next episode of DevSecOps Podcast. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Termina aqui DevSecOps. DevSecOps, o seu podcast de segurança em tecnologia.
Hello, this episode is over. Thanks for watching, and I really appreciate if you share this content with your friends, with your co-workers. For sure they will enrich their knowledge as well as the same as you just did when you listen or watch it to this specific episode of DevSecOps Podcast. We really enjoy that you were here with us, so please share this content, share this knowledge. And here there's 2 more contents that I strongly recommend you to watch now or save for later, but don't miss out. For sure you will enrich even more your knowledge.